tuning into Peachy Pilates. Welcome to Pilates 101. In today's workout, we're going to talk a whole lot about our foundations, our breath, spinal articulation, placement of our neck, shoulders away from the ears, all kinds of good stuff. This is an amazing video if you're new to Peachy Pilates. Also, if you've been working out with me for a while and you just want to re-check in with our form with those foundations, it's really great for anyone just to start to create more awareness over what our body's doing and take that awareness with us out into our everyday lives. We're going to start lying down on the mat. Your knees are going to be bent with your feet grounded. So how we start a lot of our workouts today, we're just going to talk about our spinal placement, how we land on our mat to start. Your neck is long, your chin is slightly down. This is going to keep your ears as far away from possible to your shoulders. Looking for that length is just going to start to create that taller, less compressed sensation in your spine. And then moving down, of course you're pulling your shoulders down away from your ears like we just talked about, but you're looking to engage your center like you've put on a corset or like you're taking a really loud cough. You know when you feel your waist kind of shrink wrap in? That's what you're looking to hold on to when you're in what we call this neutral spine. So notice I've got a little curve between the small of my back and the mat underneath me. That's going to help turn on our transverse abdominis, those deepest abdominal muscles that are going to protect our spine, as opposed to turning on the outer surface muscles, which we will talk about here in a second. You want your tailbone to feel just about as heavy as the back of your head. So you've got those two anchor points on either end of your spine. And again, you're thinking elongation, like there's a string pulling your head and your tailbone in two opposite directions. Nothing particular with the feet. You just want a little space between them so that you're not squeezing your inner thighs together here to start. All I want you to do is start with nice deep Pilates breath. You breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. When we're breathing out through the mouth, it's pursed lips, like you're blowing up a balloon or like you're trying to whistle here. That's going to turn on your multifidus. All the way up your spine, they'll start to vibrate with this three-dimensional breath. Can you fill up with as much air as possible every time you breathe in? Your ribs expand from side to side. As you breathe out, they knit right back in towards one another. Continue to move with that breath with your pace, trying to fill up and empty your tank as much as possible with every single breath. What that's going to do is just allow us to turn on our core with every breath. So even just your Pilates breath is an ab exercise, hence why we're focusing on it so much. We're going to start to take this into a pelvic rub. Remember when I talked about those outer surface abs? Here they go. And next time you're breathing out, can you try to smash the back of your belly button down into the mat below you? So you flattened that neutral curve that I talked about a second ago. This is what we call your imprint spine. You're engaging your abs by pulling the back of your navel to the floor instead of by trying to puff your abs up towards the sky. So a little bit different than you might have done in the gym prior. You'll breathe in to lift your low back to neutral, tailbone's heavy. Breathe out, notice how your tailbone kind of tucks up between your thighs, kind of like a shy puppy dog, tail between the legs. Start to move through these two positions. During this pelvic rock, your goal is to connect to your breath. Exhale to imprint the low back, press it down into the mat. Inhale to let that go. Your goal is to keep your neck as relaxed as possible, your glutes and the backs of your thighs as relaxed as possible. We want this to purely come from our core. We'll turn on the glutes and the backs of the thighs in a second, don't you worry. Next time the back of your belly button's pulled down, we're going to hold it pulled down. From here, core is engaged. Now, without even moving, squeeze those glutes like you're trying to send your cheeks closer together. Turn on the backs of your thighs like you're using your feet to pull the mat towards your seat. And you're going to hover your tailbone up away from the ground. Once you get there, can you think about your inner thighs hugging your midline? Turn on your glutes, backs of the thighs even more. You're going to peel your spine away from the mat, starting with the low back, bone by bone, by bone until your ribs are lifted up and away, but the backs of your shoulders remain heavy. Can you press into the backs of your arms? This bridge position, hold here, but don't hold your breath, continue to breathe, is helping you with your posture. The front half of your body is getting longer. The back half of your body is getting stronger. You're also promoting blood flow and circulation by holding your hips higher than your heart. We're going to take one more big breath in. See if we can articulate all the way back down, like you're putting a piece of Velcro back down in its place. Start by dropping your heart, then your ribs. Shy puppy dog, tail between the thighs. As the low back taps down, finally the tailbone. Release all the way to that neutral. It's basically a larger pelvic rock. We're just going to do one more of those. Belly button pulls down. Turn on our glutes, backs of our thighs. Roll up and away. One bone at a time leaves the mat. Next bone doesn't leave without the previous. And then once you get to the top, hug those inner thighs to your midline. Think about your hips reaching all the way over your knees. There's more length in the quads. Keep your neck relaxed as you slowly drop your heart, your ribs, your middle back, your low back, and then finally your tailbone. Release all the way back to neutral. Take a breath. From here, you're going to go right back into that imprinted position, pulling your belly button towards your spine and your spine towards the mat underneath you. Now lift my right leg into what's called tabletop. My knee goes about over my hip. My shin goes about parallel to the floor. Your left leg's going to meet your right leg. Both legs are going into tabletop. This time, can you squeeze your inner thighs together? Your challenge is going to be to keep the back of your belly button smushed to that mat underneath you. Holding both legs at tabletop, use your core. Can you float both arms straight up towards the sky? Once your arms are up, we're going to start to take an arm circle. They open out wide like a T, come all the way down by your sides, and then lift back towards the sky. Can you keep the back of your belly button down as you circle your arms? Can you keep your rib cage still as you circle your arms? And can you keep your neck relaxed because your core is so on? Reverse that circle from here. Open out, lift up, and then lower back down. Open out, lift up, and lower right back down. 3 more like this. Belly button to spine, belly button to spine. Continue to breathe. And then after this last one, hold your arms straight up. Set one foot at a time back down. Squeeze the inner thighs together this time and come directly back into your neutral spine. My tailbone is just as heavy as the back of my head. Just like when you lifted your tailbone in your bridge, we're going to lift your head away from the mat this time. Take a peek at your fingertips. Lift your head like you're trying to grab an apple between your chin and your chest. From here, my arms are going to start to move down by either side of my legs. As I lift my head, neck, and chest even higher, I'm taking a peek at my pelvis to make sure that my hips and my pubic bone have remained parallel to the floor and I haven't lost the curve in my low back. Your neck is looking in that direction to keep the strength in your core instead of tension in your neck. You're going to start to lift your arms back up as your shoulders land, as your neck lands, and then finally your head lands. You look right back up towards the sky. We're doing 4 of those. Ab curl or chest lift is what we call this. Breathing out on the way up. Breathing in on the way back down. Last 2 of these. And then after the last one of these, you're going to bring both hands down onto your hips. Elbows are just bent out wide. Try to relax. Notice your hips, your pubic bone. Are they staying parallel to the floor? Your hands are there as a guide. You're going to allow each knee to fall over to the right and the left. Think big butterfly stretch. You'll roll onto the outsides of your feet. Can you relax your glutes when you get there? And then you'll exhale to close both knees right back up. Breathing in to open your knees, keep your glutes as relaxed as possible. Breathing out to come back up. Can you make sure that your pelvis stays totally still as your knees fall open and as they close? Muscles deep inside pelvic floor, getting a nice release here. You might not even be able to feel that. Just know that that's what's happening. We've got 3, 2, and then on this last one, you're going to hold your knees all the way back together and bring your arms open like a nice big T. You're going to send both knees over to the right this time. Can you keep both shoulders down as those knees fall? You're going to breathe your breath into that left side rib cage, looking for as much expansion as possible across your obliques, across your torso. Think like a wet rag, releasing water. You're releasing tension as you breathe in this twist. Also going to promote detoxification. Then we're going to send your knees all the way up and over to the left. Same thing, send your breath into the right side ribs this time. Looking for that full expansion and that full contraction with each breath. Remember, it's a core exercise. 2 more breaths on this side. Both knees are coming straight back up towards the sky. You're going to grab back behind your thighs, nod your chin towards your chest, and climb all the way up those legs until you're sitting up nice and tall here. All right, we're going to transition into what's called a Z-sit next for your mermaid. Try to leave the feet about where they are and just start to let your knees and your torso twist towards the screen. As your knees drop, they're going to end up in what we call this Z-sit, where one knee is bent up in front of us, shin parallel to the front edge of the mat, and the other knee is bent back behind us, shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. From here, try to sit up as tall as you can, and you're going to bring both arms like a nice big letter T out by your sides. We're taking a side bend. All that means is you're going to start to tip over towards the right. Your right hand is going to land on the ground. You're going to reach your left hand all the way up overhead, and then use your right hand to try to press your ribs higher towards the sky, creating this rainbow or this arch shape. From here, you're going all the way up and all the way over to the other side. Left hand drops, right hand lifts up overhead. We try to press our ribs higher, and then we'll come right back up to that nice tall letter T. We're going to do 2 more of those. Can you breathe in as you reach up and over, expand your ribs. Breathe out to lift, lift, lift. Breathe in to reach up and over. And breathe out to lift, lift, lift. It's okay if both hips don't land on the ground in this position. You'll notice mine don't. And then once you're done with this last one, you're going to swing both legs all the way over to the other side, and we'll do the same thing in your opposite Z-sit. So other leg in front, other leg facing that short side of the mat. Arms go nice and open to that T. We're breathing in to reach up and over. You're focusing on one side of your torso crunching and the other side stretching. You'll lift, 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 and then land on the opposite side. Breathe in. Lift, grow tall like there's a pane of glass in front of you and behind you. You don't want to smudge that glass, so we're keeping our heart nice and open, nice and wide. You've just got 1 more of these to each side. And from here, you can go ahead and drop both those arms. You're going to transition to all fours, or what we call a quadruped position. All that means is that your hands, your wrists are going to go directly under your shoulders, and your knees are going to go directly underneath your hips. From here, you might have the urge to bring your knees under your chest. That's kind of a safety net where your body likes to go, but notice how curved my low back is up towards the ceiling. You really want to walk those knees back behind your hips so you can look for that same neutral spine that we talked about at the start of class. Remember, your head and your tailbone reaching in 2 opposite directions, your shoulders as far as they can be away from your ears. That internal core set, it's on, it's active. Like this time you're pulling your belly button up away from gravity. Once you find this strong position, we're going to take this into what's called a plank prep. Both your feet are just going to tuck under so that your toes can press in to your padded surface of your mat. Your shoulders are moving down your back. Muscles in your back are still turned on. You're gonna try to keep your knees bent, but just lift them 2 inches up away from the mat underneath you. You're putting on that internal corset. You're feeling the muscles in your back, fire, fire, fire. We're holding here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Set those knees down, opportunity to recover. We're gonna do the exact same thing 2 more times. On an exhale, hover those knees. Continue to breathe as you hold your plank prep shape. Think about your form. Can your tailbone and your head get farther away from one another? We're holding here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Set those knees down, opportunity to recover. And we'll just do that 1 more time. When you're ready, engage your center, hover those knees. We're holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set those knees down. You're gonna untuck those toes, and we're coming into what we call a prone position. That just means you're lying all the way down on your belly from here. Now you want your elbows bent straight up towards the sky. Your hands are about underneath your shoulders, doesn't have to be perfect. I want you to think about your pubic bone getting heavier into the mat. Pull your belly button away from the ground, like you're trying to imprint your spine to the air up above you. From here, can you keep that imprint shape of the spine? I'm pressing into my hands to lift my head, lift my heart. My arms are gonna go as long as feels okay for my back. Shoulders are down my back. I'm in what's called a swan. And then I'm gonna lower down 1 bone at a time. Start with your belly button, just like 1 bone at a time in your bridge and in your chest lift. You're just working against gravity this time, pressing up. Breathe in as I press into my hands. My arms go as long as they can. And then breathe out to lower right back down. We've got 2 more of these. Breathing in to press lift. It's the muscles in your back lifting you up. And then lower right back down. Last one here. Breathing in to press lift, lift, lift. Can you look over your right shoulder? Look over your left shoulder. Look back to center. And lower down, down, down with control. Then I'm gonna press right back up to my hands and my knees. My toes are gonna come into kiss, and my knees are gonna open out wide towards the side. We're going into an extended child's pose. Send your hips as close to your heels as you possibly can, and then send your fingers as close to the front edge of the mat as you possibly can. It's okay if your shoulders are up in your ears this time. Now I'm gonna keep both my hips heavy as I thread my left arm under my right arm. Try to peek at your left fingertips, taking a nice big twist. Use that right palm for feedback like we talked about in your mermaid to open up your hips even more. Find the expansion in your back every breath you take. Releasing tension like we talked about in our spine twist on our back. Activating our obliques by creating this twisted shape. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the second side. Right arm's going underneath the left, taking a peek at those right fingertips, using your left palm for feedback to get those hips even further back, and then thinking about breathing into the ribs in the back of your body. So can your rib cage expand towards the sky as you breathe in? Can you find that center midline as you breathe out? Shrink wrapping that waist. Even what feels like a stretch, remember, every exercise is a core exercise in Pilates. You're going to reach right back to center. 1 bone at a time is going to start to restack. Walk your hands close to you as you tuck your tailbone under. Your low back stacks on top of your tailbone. Your middle back stacks on top of that. Your shoulders, your neck, your head, they are last. And there's your Pilates 101. I hope you feel amazing after that. I sure do feel more connected to my form. I can't wait to see you next time. Take all that with you to the mat.